Welcome to this vagus nerve restorative class. It's a soothing vagus nerve restorative class. For this class, you are going to need a bolster, 2 blocks, a blanket, and something to sit on. I'm sitting on a meditation cushion only because it keeps the whole class low, but you can absolutely sit on a chair for the sitting portions of this class. So we are going to start just by doing a check-in of our neck by rotating your head side to side, just checking in on the range of motion here. So checking in on the range of motion here, and also just noticing any pain that you're experiencing here. So we'll check in on this again after we do the basic exercise, as it's known famously in the vagus nerve world. And we'll see if there's any reduction of pain and any increase in the range of motions. So now you're going to lie down on your back, and you're going to interlace your fingers behind your head and lie down on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor for the basic exercise. So fingers interlaced behind your head, elbows wide. Your elbows will probably rest on the ground. Mine are still up a bit from the remnants of frozen shoulder. Okay, so for the basic exercise, you keep your nose pointing toward the ceiling, and then you turn your eyes to, we'll start with the right. And you're just going to keep looking to the right until you have a vagal response, which might be a need to swallow, like an increased saliva, a sigh, or a yawn. So mine came as a swallow today. And a deep sigh. You might have yawned. So we'll come back to the center. And then we're going to look to the other side. We're going to look to the left and again wait for that vagal response. It could take 30 seconds. So I got that sigh. I can feel the need to swallow. Interesting response for me this morning. Often I get a yawn. Today I'm getting sighs. Okay, so we're going to come sit up and we're going to check in again. Okay, so you're going to come sit in your chair, on your block, or your meditation cushion, and we're just going to check in again. So turning your head side to side, noticing if there's more range of motion and less pain, stiffness, more ease. Noticing if you feel more anchored in your body. So I've got this pain this morning in my right shoulder going up my neck from doing chin-ups. And that's a little less now. And also I did notice more range of motion. So that is the beginning. Let's come into a restorative twist. You're going to take 2 blocks and your bolster and set them up medium and low. And then you're going to walk your knees to your right and lower your hips down to the left. And you're going to be in this pose for 5 minutes. So lengthen your spine long, and you can lower down. And make yourself as comfortable as possible. In our restorative yoga poses, we want to have as little effort as possible and let our props support us and hold us, the ground support us and hold us. So restorative yoga lets us get out of our heads and into our bodies, into our hearts. These slow, still poses can help us find peace in a world of overstimulation. They give us space where our sympathetic nervous system is constantly being ramped up and stimulated, where our parasympathetic nervous system can be activated, where you can turn to rest and digest. So take a breath. Let's come and go onto the other side. You're going to come up onto all fours. And then you're going to walk your knees over to your left side. And you're going to lower your right hips down. Lengthen up tall through your spine. And you're going to lower yourself down onto your bolster. So you're going to be here for another 5 minutes. And again, just take those extra few minutes at the beginning of the pose to make yourself as comfortable as possible, to settle in, to allow yourself to yield to the support of the props in the ground. Having the space to rest in an overstimulating world is the medicine that we need. We're living in a culture that wants us to always be hustling, doing, achieving, and striving. Breathing into our hearts and our bellies and simply resting and being, resting into being. It takes courage. It really is an act of resistance in our culture. And I want to acknowledge each one of you who are here today taking this time to have space in these restorative yoga poses, to acknowledge the significant changes that you're making in your nervous system's ability to regulate itself. So by regulating your own nervous system, by anchoring into safety, you're changing the frequency of the communities in which you live, because you're creating the conditions for co-regulation. You're becoming anchors of safety. You're also creating a lens through which you see the world. When you're anchored in safety, you see the world as a safe place. You don't see the world as agitative or divisive. So when you are regulated, you create the energy field for others to be regulated in your presence. And so I thank you for tending to your nervous systems today. It's a powerful act of self-love, but also love for all beings. Okay, take a breath. And you're going to come from here to lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. I'm going to sit up to give you some instructions for breathing. Okay, so on your backs with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, we're going to do a little 4-7-8 breathing. It means you breathe in for 4. You're going to pause your breath for 4, be full. I love the image when we're on the pause of allowing that prana, that life force energy to expand in your body and feed all the cells of your body. So imagine that happening. And then on you exhale, you release, you let go. You can let go of any tension, any stress, any pain. I love the way in Qigong you let go of it like gray smoke. So you can add those visualizations if you like visualizations to this breath practice. I'll do the counting for you. If you have a little different pacing than me, always feel free to take your own pacing. We're going to do it first, and we'll follow it with a little acupressure exercise, and then we'll do it again and just see if that acupressure shifts the breathing for you at all. So let's start with a conscious breath. Breathe in. Pause. Breathe out. 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 Okay, return to breathing normally. Just notice how you feel. So that breathing is very regulating. So now we're going to do a really cool acupressure point that I love for vagal toning. It's great because it opens up your breathing, but I also love it because it changes facial affect. So this is what I talk about, being co-regulating anchors for each other, raising the frequency of our communities, so that when we're a safety anchor for others, that it raises that vibration so that the world doesn't seem so scary, so we don't others don't have to always be in fight or flight or freeze and shut down. We can show other people through our faces that the world is a safe place. So if you take your pointer fingers and you put them right at the crease on the outer corners of your nose, and you just circle. You can even just hold, press in and up a little bit. So whatever feels good to you, it will be tender. This is also a large intestine point, so it'll help to release too through your large intestines, which supports you in letting go. But it does help you to have a more authentic smile. So the smile goes to the corners of your eyes, makes other people feel safe in your presence when you have good facial affect. So this time when we're breathing, let's focus on our diaphragm. So, the vagus nerve really innervates the diaphragm. That's why breathing practices are so beneficial for regulating our nervous systems. So I love an image that I really love for the vagus nerve and the diaphragm to be relaxed is when we breathe in, imagine the vagus nerve, your diaphragm just sinking down towards your feet because you're lying down. And then as you breathe out, imagine it just softening up towards your heart. Those images really help me, particularly on the exhale, and maybe they'll help you too. So let's do this again. We'll start with a conscious breath. And breathe in. Pause. Breathe out. 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 And then just return to breathing normally. And just notice how the first round of breathing was different, if it was different from the second round of breathing. So for me, I really noticed it, and you maybe noticed it too, picked it up in my voice. My voice was much more regulated in the second round. It felt much more in my my body, less like I had to work it, and it was just much more resonant. And our vagus nerve really innervates through our vocal cords, and we're going to work with this later in the class. One way to really activate your vagus nerve is through humming, gargling, singing, chanting, oming. Those kinds of things are really great for your vagus nerve. So this is vocal prosody. So when you were children and your mothers would speak to you in a sing-songy voice, that is a way that allows you to feel safe. And it's really important of a voice that is regulated. So that was just something that I noticed from the first round to the second round, even though it wasn't directly breathing. The breathing was easier too. Okay, we're going to come into our next restorative pose, which is going to be a restorative side bend. So you'll need something, or you might want something for your head. I'm going to use my meditation cushion. You could use a cushion from your couch or your chair, or you can use a block. It's kind of hard, but whatever works, whatever you have on hand. And we're going to be in this pose for 5 minutes. So you set yourself up so your arm is in the moat. Your head is supported. You can have your arm overhead. You can have your knees bent. You remember, you want to be comfortable. You can have your legs long, which is going to be more. So look after your body today. You could have your bottom legs bent, your top legs straight. Okay, so it's hard to move slowly in a culture that's constantly pushing us to hurry up, to get to some continually advancing finish line. So learning how to move slowly and gently in an intentional pace is a practice in and of itself. In restorative yoga, we slow down. We ask our minds to be quiet by being still in our bodies. The more still we are in our bodies, it creates like a mirror for our minds to be still, like a lake that's still. If our body's still, then it creates stillness for our minds too. This is an incredibly compassionate practice to nourish our own well-being. This gentleness with ourselves supports our own self-care. Take a breath. Okay, before we do the other side, we're going to sit up and do another breath practice. This one we are going to do seated, so you can do it in a chair if you want. Okay, so this one is interesting. You're going to have your hands in prayer position. This is a centering breath. What you're going to do is you're going to breathe in, and then you're going to breathe out and empty your lungs completely of air. And when your lungs are empty of air, you're going to push your hands together. Push, 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 push. And you're going to keep being empty of air. And then when the need to inhale is there, then you're going to inhale. So think of it like a reset to recenter you. So let's try this together. So inhale. Exhale fully. Exhale fully. You're going to breathe out fully and then press the hands together again. I think I did that one wrong. I was supposed to breathe out and then hold. Okay, I'm going to reset that. So it's okay. We're going to, sorry if I've messed up your rhythm. We're going to breathe in, breathe out all the way, then push, and then let the breath come. So you're going to breathe in, breathe out all the way. You can do one more. Breathe out all the way. Okay, so just notice how you feel. It's supposed to be centering. So I do feel like locked in here. Yeah, and when I made that mistake, I felt that resilience. I didn't feel, sometimes you can kind of freak out. You can go into shame, shut down, or you can go into activation, freak out. I felt that resilience. I just restarted. So I think that's a good one. I think that's a keeper. Okay, we're going to do that restorative side bend on the other side. So we were side bending on the left side was on the cushion. So we'll have the right side on the cushion this time. And you're going to be here for 5 minutes again. So I did bottom leg bent, top leg straight, and you set it up so that it worked for you. You could have your arm overhead. I didn't on the other side. I might for a bit on this side. So we're just looking after our own bodies, doing what feels right, knowing that our bodies are different on each side. So when we take the time to slow down, move gently, and offer ourselves compassionate care, we model this as a possibility for others through our own actions. We create environments of co-regulation for others to step into that feel so safe and resonant because we've done our own practice of self-regulation. This is a powerful act of care in which you're creating peace in our own bodies. So when we create peace in our own bodies, when we create safety in our own bodies, we're offering that peace and safety in the world. So it's a really powerful thing what you're doing here. Take a breath. Okay, our next pose takes a little bit of setting up, but it's definitely worth it. You're going to take your bolster, you're going to put it at the foot of your mat. You're going to take your blanket and you want it in a long and narrow shape. It's going to go underneath your diaphragm. Okay, it might even be better to have it more narrow than that. Something like that. Underneath your diaphragm. So we'll put it here and we might have to fuss with it a bit to get it in the right spot, but it'll be worth it. You're going to take your blocks. They're going to go under your shoulders. We will also have to move those about a little bit to get them in the right spot. And either a cushion, or I like using an eye pillow like for this, something for your forehead so that your nose has space to breathe. So another folded blanket, a cushion, something. And then you're going to put your feet on your bolster, this on your diaphragm, the blocks on your shoulders, and your eye pillow on your forehead. And it looks like that. So breathe into your low back here. I'm going to sit up here and share the teachings so you don't get that weird echo between the blocks here. Timothy McCall, a medical doctor specializing in internal medicine and a yoga therapist, says, yoga is strong medicine, but it is slow medicine. So when we are regulated in our nervous systems, we are no longer rushing, and we no longer feel rushed. So that could look like different things in your life. It could look like, not feeling like you're on this kind of time, like time is running out. It doesn't feel like time is running out in your life, or like you need to rush through your chores and things like that. When we slow down, our lives feel more spacious and open. So we can slow down in the way that we move through our lives, but also in our bodies, the way our bodies move through our lives too. Just our breathing, our movements. In fact, if you're feeling rushed, that's a really good way to slow down. This slower pace of life allows us to connect more deeply with our hearts and our personal truth and express it authentically in the world. A regulated nervous system is patient, and it can hear the voice of our souls and follow its guidance in our lives. Yoga teacher Joanne Spence says, rather than trying harder, try softer. The softness that we embody in our vagus nerve restorative yoga class inspires others to put down their armor and live from their hearts as well. So this is how being anchored in safety, being regulated, creates that environment for others to feel safe. As Pema Chodron says, when you are kinder to yourself, that kindness floods the world. It is a softer, more trusting and heart-centered way of being that creates a frequency of trust and co-regulation for others to step into. So just take a moment here, just breathe into that and acknowledge yourself for anchoring into safety and knowing what a powerful thing it is to be that anchor of safety in a world that feels so turbulent. It creates a lens through which you see the world as safe and full of possibilities and ability to be resilient. And also for others to step into that frequency, which is just such a beautiful gift to our world right now. Okay, take a breath into your low back. Such a beautiful way to nourish your kidneys too. And you're going to find your way out of this pose. We're going to come up to a seated position. I have a real treat for you in seated. And we're going to carry with us that intention of slowly moving here. So you can sit in a chair. You're going to take your fingertips and you're going to place them, you're going to let your jaw hang. You're going to place them on your lower jaw. And you're just going to very lightly move up. Let them very lightly move up. So we're going to be patient, patient, patient. So that slowly over time, because of the oils on your skin, with very gentle pressure, your fingertips are going to glide up past your jaw. Keep breathing. This is a really beautiful fascial release for your jaw. So see when you're patient how it's working, it's moving slowly. And you come up past the jaw, sort of to the area of the temples, and it's just slowly, gradually gliding. Very little pressure, almost no pressure. This is another thing where we're just creating that facial affect, which makes your face a safe haven for others. It's a funny thing to say, isn't it? But we're releasing the tension, when we're controlling our lives, we're gripping our jaws, our temples get so much tension, our scalp, so much pressure on ourselves to perform. We can just let all that go. So see how it's happening just so slowly now. My fingers are sort of at my temples. And look at what happens when we're so slow, so patient with ourselves. Like, I love that Lao Tzu saying, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. This massage just is the epitome of patience and slowness. And so much happens with that slowness. So now I'm sort of at the top of my temples. My fingers are gliding up towards my scalp now. Notice how your jaw is feeling. Notice how your temples are feeling. And this takes a deep amount of trust and courage with the rhythm of life and your place in the interconnected whole. We don't have to force or push anything. We trust in the rhythm of life. It's like one of my favorite animals, like the slug. It just moves along, and it might seem like it's I like the Mary Oliver poem, like where she says, today I'm flying low. And it's stillness, one of the doors into the temple. And in the poem she says, it may seem like I'm not moving at all, but I'm really moving a great distance. Okay, so when we get up to the scalp, we can just release that. And just notice how your jaw feels, how your face feels. And again, just acknowledge yourself for being an anchor of safety for others. And smile. Notice how easy it is to smile because your jaw is released, because your temples are released. So you can have the crinkle of the smile in your eyes. So it's like a real genuine smile. And then let's come into child's pose. We're going to do child's pose. We're going to do some humming in child's pose for our vagus nerve. Okay, for child's pose, I like to have mine elevated a bit. You can do it however you want. You can use a bolster. You don't need to use a bolster. We're going to be in this pose for 3 minutes, and we're going to use some humming. This is great because it vibrates your throat, it actually vibrates through your whole body, and it stimulates your vagus nerve. So come into the pose. Let's get comfortable first. And then think of it like a breath practice. You're going to inhale. And your exhale, you're just going to... Okay, so let's take a breath. Notice how you feel. And you're going to make your way into your final resting position, into Shavasana. So it can be nice to have a bolster underneath your knees in Shavasana. You set yourself up however is most comfortable to you. I'm going to do about a 3-minute Shavasana. And I have a poem for you here called On a Day When Stillness Seems Possible by Rosemary Ratola Traumer. And the river is a long white stroke of roiling and continuous surge, and the grass gone to seed wavers in the wind, then stills, wavers, then stills, and the swallows spiral, the leaf shadows spangle, and the ants braid a path across the stones. But I rhyme today with the cottonwood trunks, my own body unmoving in the breeze. It feels good in this moment to be more tree than cloud, more silence than song. So easily the stillness opens me, softens me. How simple really to do nothing. How is it I so often resist? If there is no in me now, I do not notice it. Stillness has made a home in me, and there seems to be nothing the stillness refuses. Come, it seems to say. There is room here for everything. It opens me wider. The world rushes in. And the river is a long white stroke of roiling and continuous surge. And the grass gone to seed wavers in the wind, then stills, wavers, then stills, and the swallows spiral. The leaf shadows spangle, and the ants braid a path across the stones. But I rhyme today with the cottonwood trunks, my own body unmoving in the breeze. It feels good in this moment to be more tree than cloud, more silence than song. So easily the stillness opens me, softens me. How simple, really, to do nothing. How is it I so often resist? If there is no in me now, I do not notice it. Stillness has made a home in me, and there seems to be nothing the stillness refuses. Come, it seems to say, there is room here for everything. It opens me wider, and the world rushes in. So before you start to make that transition back to what's coming next, just take a moment to reflect back on your experience of this class and notice what stands out to you. And take a moment to take that precious jewel and plant it in your heart, in your consciousness, and let yourself carry it with you off your mat and into your life. And then you can let your breath deepen, let yourself wiggle and stretch out. And you can bend your knees and roll to your side and slowly make your way up to seated. I want to acknowledge you for taking this time to create an anchor of safety in you, and by extension, creating an anchor of safety for the world. I would love it so much if you gave this video a like and subscribed if you're not already subscribed for more classes like this, and put I created an anchor of safety in the comments below. And I'm sending you much love from beautiful British Columbia. May your joy be as deep as the ocean. May you be as rooted as the old growth trees in our forest. And may you be as strong as the mountains. May all beings be happy and free. And may the thoughts, words, and actions of our own lives contribute to the happiness and freedom of all.